Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Mental Health Awareness Initiative. Today, we have a passionate psychologist from Pune, Maharashtra, Ms Sukanya Biswas. She's an author also. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody.
And if you could just tell our listeners more about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Sukanya Biswas. I'm currently pursuing my PhD. I've been in the field from almost now 10 years, and I'm working as a school psychologist. I'm also as a taking a lot of sessions online. I had my clinic, which of course during this COVID time, it's kind of not working in face-to-face. Apart from it, I'm also working as a visiting faculty in Amity University. Other than that, there are a lot of research papers that I have been doing, a lot of journal work that I've been doing. So these are my few passionate areas that I've been working for in our field. So yeah.
Wonderful to have you, ma'am, on the show. And if you could also share as to what is your perception about mental health looking at the pandemic right now.
So basically, when we talk about mental health, the WHO defines saying that it refers to the cognitive, behavioral, or emotional well-being. And it is something how we think, how we feel, and we behave. And to connect it with the present scenario, I think that's exactly where the mental well-being is supposed to be our foremost priority at this present time, because this is exactly where we see that how we are thinking is getting more about the anxious, how we feel is more about the emotional part of it, that whether we've been feeling negative emotions more, and the way we are behaving, so the pattern and the activity that we are doing in order to avoid. So I think that's where we have to be more focused and being mentally be more, having the well-being, doing it properly. Yeah. A lot of what I've noticed is that, when I talk about the behavior is when we have been given the protocol, the COVID protocol of maintaining social distancing, or rather, I would say the precautionary measures. What I've noticed is that we are getting into a pattern where probably it's gonna be more impactful in the sense a lot of OCD patients is what we have noticed that has increased, because the normal protocol, which has been talking about that you have to have your hand washing or kind of wearing the mask constantly. Now, the behavior when we are not being able to think properly, or when we are being into the anxious state, what we are trying to do right now is just because of the fear that is creeping in, we are overdoing with the sanitizer. I've noticed people sitting at home and constantly going and washing their hands or sanitizing, even when you're sitting at home. It's not even required. So that's a lot of factors that plays into how we think and how we behave is also, like I mentioned, that is a part of the mental well-being. So this is something where we have to probably restrict or understand that where is it needed or what is it and when is it that we are supposed to be doing those things. Like even wearing mask. I've seen people wearing mask even when it's not required. Like when you're exercising, you're wearing the mask. I hope, we need to understand that when you're walking and you're wearing the mask, you're actually inhaling the carbon dioxide back. So these few things, where we have to be a little more aware of, or a little more, understanding that why what is being told and not overdoing. Which can lead to another distressing situation. So, yeah, that's what I would conclude, saying that we need to be more careful about the situation and the protocols which has been laid down by the government.
Okay, even if we keep or follow the protocol, people are falling sick and they are, after testing, they are COVID positive. So, what do you think should one do if they are COVID positive?
Right. Right now, the world has definitely gone through an unprecedented crisis for this over a period of this year. And just when we were all thinking that it's all over, the second wave has hit us, quite in a different way. And even when this outlook is quite a gloom and doom, even the most optimistic among us would also have this difficult difficulty to remain cheerful. And thus, even when we were maintaining the COVID protocol, I think there was the time where we all thought that it's all gone, it's all nowhere. And it's very unfortunate for us that it has increased at a level that we've been hearing about all the news everywhere. Now, the first thing that I would suggest is that when somebody who is being detected positive by the RT-PCR or the rapid antigen test, the first thing would be advised is the home quarantine, isolating completely. We have noticed that a lot of people, in order, like the moment they hear that it's COVID positive, they want to run to the hospital. And thus, it's also creating havoc. I mean, I'm sure that we all are aware of the beds not being given to the patients, or it's not being provided. It's mainly we need to hear somewhere, understand that whether just the thought of itself that we have been COVID and thus running to the hospital, I mean, we are cutting down on people who really needed the emergency help. So when I have been interacting with a lot of doctors, I mean, we've been hearing it. A lot of people have been doing this where suppose, there's a patient, like they have just realized that somebody at home is COVID positive. Quarantine them at home. They don't want to risk the other family members, and thus, putting them in the hospital thinking, okay, like the other family members are safe, which definitely is creating a lot of issues. I mean, we all have been hearing it all over the news and everything. So the first thing is, I mean, do not panic when you get to hear or the news is broken to you that, it's probably a positive thing for you. What would be advisable is just noting down the symptoms like fever, breathing problem, cough, sore throat. Keep your thermometer for noting the temperature if at all, if you're feeling the temperature rise. You can have the pulse oximeter for noting the oxygen dip, if there's any kind of a saturation with your oxygen level. And it's also recommended that you wear the mask whenever, in encountering people, even at home. If somebody other than you, others are safe, then probably that can be something that can be taken care of. It's also advised that you maintain the daily healthy routine. Eat fruits and healthy food items, which is rich in proteins. I mean, that is what is suggested by the WHO as well. We understand that during home isolation, even if you feel weak, I mean, I would suggest try to keep your room neat and clean, because that's again a place where you would be isolating yourself for 15 days. So definitely keeping that in mind. Also realizing that being in home isolation for such a long period without stepping out of the house or meeting people for 15 days can be stressful itself. So therefore, it's I think recommended that you speak or chat with your family members, close friends, colleagues. It will definitely help relaxing your mind or divert attention from the illness that we are going through. We also, I think, we have to ensure that you get enough sleep, because a lot of time I've been hearing this from a lot of clients of mine that sleep has been a complete eradicate situation for them. So often it may be difficult to fall asleep, but proper sleep is most important during this recovery phase. Few suggestions like, maybe the homemade kada is definitely a soothing and good for the cough relief. Keep drinking a lot of hot water throughout the day. Which is being suggested by even the doctors. They are also suggesting to take paracetamol or multivitamin tablets.
I would like to intervene as a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
What 3 things would you tell a patient who is quarantined and is COVID positive?
Right. So one thing would be that distract yourself from the negative emotions, which definitely, I mean, it's bound that we might get into that sphere or those emotions, overwhelming emotions. Better if you can listen to music, read some books, watch some entertaining program. Again, trying to avoid watching, kind of news channel and continuously getting into track of how many numbers are increasing or somewhere where it can be distressing. I mean, try avoiding things which can be distressing for us. Also, the second would be, do not keep discussing all the time about who got sick. Instead, keep, learn about who got well and recovered. So we had a case, I think it was beautifully mentioned, 105 years old patient who was recovered. And I think it was quite motivating to see that, okay, people are still recovering from it. And, it's always been positive about it. Apart from it, I think like I mentioned, like having your healthy food, having, taking care of your sleep, talking to people. We are talking about social distancing, but keeping in mind that it's about physical distancing and not emotional distancing. So this is a time where you connect with people. You could connect to people whom you have never been in touch with. I think this is a great time for you to do that. Express your emotions to people, whatever you're feeling, write it down. So these are the few things that you can do emotionally or in a mental for the mental well-being. I mean, these would be few of the strategies that I would feel that they can definitely apply.
Okay, and how about people at home? Like for anyone who is there along with the COVID patient who is quarantined, so how should other members deal with it?
Right. I
Just
think,
simple tips.
yeah, so maybe they need to stop discussing about the negative news, watching movies together. They can play indoor games. I mean, during this time, I mean, I have noticed I've been playing a lot of this Ludo game, which is online, and you can connect with people outside also. Like, even if you're at home, you can do that with people outside. So some kind of games which definitely would help. Apart from it, maybe the memory games, because this definitely would help them, like crossword puzzles, zigzag puzzles, or Sudoku. I mean, any kind of a thing which keeps them busy. Like I said, that avoiding any kind of a sensational news or social media post which may impact their mental health. Trying to socialize more, share feelings with others, avoid any kind of an anxiety or tension which might, become a problem for them. This also would be a time if they can, get into the old hobbies like painting, gardening, or stitching. Go back to them or rediscover their hobbies. Cultivate a hidden talent which can be, which they may not have thought of that they might be having. Enroll into some kind of course that will improve their skills. And this is the best time which they can use for the learning mode. So these are few things, of course, they can be doing it.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And so they can also play Ludo game for with the person who is quarantined, right?
Right. Right. Also, it's like since it's online, like what I've noticed is like you can connect to people even outside. So there's like this rooms and everything. So a lot of games are there, like a lot of Sudoku games also. I mean, you can connect to people online, your friends and families also. So you don't really have to physically come out to play those games, even if you are indoor. You can still do it online. So
That's a really interesting tip because all those like in the family members also who those people who are quarantined, they
Mhm.
themselves can play together. Like and
Right,
it's a
right,
form of connection also and
right.
venturing out since they all are going through the same emotional upheaval. So
Mhm.
they can relate to each other's like emotion path, how they are
Mhm.
feeling.
Right,
So
right.
that is really wonderful. And how about like for example now the person has recovered. So what suggestion would you give or you have experienced in your own circle that how important is mental health for them?
Right. Right now, definitely. I mean, I've noticed people who have recovered. I mean, the post-COVID effect has been also quite distressing for a lot of people. And, that's where they need to stay extreme positive. They need to, like, follow all the protocols again, like, continuously. They need to realize that extreme weakness following recovery will be temporary. So they have to have their proper food, exercise, breathing exercise and meditation, something which they need to introduce in their day-to-day activities. Sleep and rest will bring quick recovery, which, like for surely that will help them. Apart from it, I think, taking a daily inventory of all that have been with them. Like, for example, at the end of the day, they can recognize the five, uh, the best things or the things that they are supposed to be grateful for. So even if it will help them to dilute some of the negativity that they might have encountered throughout the day. So keeping a gratitude journal with them where they can keep thinking about the five best things or thanking, being grateful about that how they have survived it or what are the things that has helped them. I think that would definitely work well for them. And also to remember that, things could have been much, much worse for them. But probably they have come out of it. They've been way too strong. They have dealt with it so wonderfully. And thus, even if the impact is there for the time that they had gone through, I think you just need to be positive minded throughout the process. So yeah.
That is like the positivity part. Then they can also share with those who are recovering, in the process of recovery.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a challenging thing which they can always lead us by example. They set an example that how did they do it, and then it's a lot of learning lessons from them as well. So they need to look into the positives and bring into the positives in others' lives as well. So that is something, yeah, you rightly mentioned.
So they are like living examples.
Right, right, right.
That is great, like the way you have synchronized the fact that thinking, feeling, and behaving should all be fluctuated and modulated towards positivity. And social distancing does not mean that you need to be emotionally distancing yourself. It's
Mhm.
more like a connection. And
Right.
then we should not let our guards down, even if we have recovered, or if we have not even, got the COVID positive test, like we're not identified as one of the patient in that category. So we
Right.
should be alert, we should be vigilant, and take each day as it is. And very beautifully mentioned how to rediscover our hobbies and play an online game with each other. That's really very interesting and very rejuvenating also when we keep on hearing all the, like, let's say, dark news on all the social media platforms. Tell me, okay, one thing, has the how has the neighborhood taken to this? Especially
I would
when
love to
the
share a personal experience in this. I mean, I would love to do that because um, this was something which I have gone through myself. Okay, so I would really like to kind of stress on this. So one of the times, it's quite recent, thus I'm sharing it. Our neighborhood, there was this uncle who had unfortunately fallen ill, and he was already bedridden. He was paralyzed. And the lady came home and she kind of requested, like, if we could go and help him lift, and because she had called for the ambulance, and we had to just lift him and take him to the till the ambulance. So there, my brother, he immediately got up and he went and he kind of lifted him and he kind of like helped the lady. But unfortunately, the next day itself, we got to hear that he was COVID positive, and thus, my brother has to also undergo the test. So we could see a little panicky situation at home, like as usual, like where things are like said and done. So my dad, being a doctor, of course, he was very, very particular about all of it. So he really wanted to quarantine him, saying that because he has encountered him, he needs to be quarantined. And I was not quite happy with that thought, like, what, he was just trying to help. And, why are you people like trying to behave in that particular manner? Now, this is where we have to be a little more realistic, which I wasn't at that point. But yes, I mean, now I understand that what's the importance and why we should. But I would like to still share this. So I chose to be with him, and I said, if you're quarantining him, I would be along with him. And immediately, because mom being diabetic, and of course they didn't wanted to take a chance being at home, and they immediately kind of booked us into another flat, and the rent was paid, and we both shifted there. Now the joke was that I kept asking him, like, when are we going to be tested? And he said, see, the test report too soon, it will be like negative, so we have to wait for 7 days. Eventually, after 7 days, he said, it's better to wait for 10 days. Now, practically, we were quarantined without even knowing that whether we had the, we have the symptoms or we are positive or not. But the point here, what I wanted to stress was, what I noticed in that 10 days of quarantine was, people around the society were behaving very absurdly, not, like, it was kind of disturbing. Like, if you are trying to walk up, like, you're getting yourself, they would, if I'm like going down for something because of food or something, society, I mean, we were ordering, or people are coming and dropping it near the doorstep. They would like completely like stigmatize, like if I'm going down the lift, they would not want to get onto the lift. If I'm trying to cross or get something, like even get water, because water wasn't there, so I had to go all the way home to bring the water because like my brother was quarantined and I was in the other room. But even at that process also, I could see that people were like keeping the distance. They were, like acting way too weird, which was definitely kind of bothering. So I still remember when I came back home. I mean, we got the test done and we were negative, of course, thankfully. But when I got back home, that was my thought process. I mean, that's something which I definitely told. I said, I am not worried about getting COVID. I'm not fearful about the symptoms, but what I'm worried about the feeling where people were behaving that particular way. So this is where I think I would want to give that message. I still remember that I was trying to call up people, and the moment they would hear the news, like I kind of like wanted to say, what really happened in the process, they would hang on the phone, and I just wanted to mock at them, saying, what is not going to spread through the phone. So, this is a message that I would definitely want to give in that instead of stigmatizing it, if we can be more helpful towards each other. So yes, we have to maintain the precautionary measures. We understand that we have to take care of all the things, but don't, um, like stigmatize the person saying there's something problem. Because even after 10 days, even when it was negative, I could see the fear in people's eyes. So that was something which definitely I would want to really bring up in this platform, that we really have to go hand in hand together. And this can be something which really needs to be stopped. I mean, be there for each other, because it's today, we, tomorrow, so we all have to be there together. So this is a need for an hour right now, what I feel.
Absolutely. And thanks for sharing your experience, because it is important when we see the cases rising up from all over the place. We keep on hearing, and one should not look at each other as if they are like culprit, or
Exactly.
uh, they they are at fault, they are the reason, or maybe alienate that person to such an extent, like absolutely, like even thinking the word like untouchable, you know.
Exactly. I mean, it was very upsetting. So I still remember that my brother went through the phase when he said, I went to help somebody. And if helping somebody means this as a cost, I would prefer not. So it was quite a long time that I had to sit with him explaining that, you know what, you have done your best and remaining God is going to take care. So, again, something which is there in our hand, we have to do. What is not there, there's no point worrying about. So yeah, we should not be letting the goodness go away. Is what the main thing would be.
True, very true. And I'm happy that you all held to that goodness part, and hope others also learn through your experience that we should come forward, be there for
Right.
each other, and be empathetic also. This
It
is,
being empathetic. Wonderful. Yes. Yes.
yeah, this is not something that one can categorize as the other person being a form of a culprit. It's
Right. Right.
okay, and accept each one. Of course, the norms have to be maintained, like social
Mhm.
distancing have to be there, wearing the
Mhm.
mask in public needs to be there. So all those things are essential, but we should not stigmatize this.
Right.
That is not
Right.
healthy.
Right. Even I think you rightly mentioned about this part, like holding the person responsible or making that person feel like being a culprit. So, I've heard this from a lot of people. Where did I get it from? I didn't even go out. Why did I get it? Or I might have met this person, or this person might. So I think that also, I think it's going to create a lot of stress. I mean, just accept it. How difficult it is to just accept saying, okay, I mean, we got it and we are going to come out of it. It's just like another flu. I mean, just kind of like like when you're making it sound big, it's gonna get more bigger. So let's just keeping it as normal as possible and being very positive. What is the need for an hour? Like all of us need to just think that okay, we are gonna fight it, and what we already have done it so wonderfully all this time. So I think
Absolutely.
that's something which needs to go on.
Very true. And it's so enriching to listen to you, because the more voices come out that this is okay. And as you said, this is another flu. We need
Hmm.
to be alert and take all the necessary precautions and be
Right.
at home as much as possible right now when we are listening that the peak is going to come around. So why
Right.
to take that, those risks? It's not needed.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we need to be educated in that way.
Right, right. With the proper thing, I mean, the proper information is again what we all probably need and require, because that would lessen our anxiety comparatively. Like, when we get to know that, okay, fine, what are the precautionary measures, or in the technical terms, like few things like, if you feel that your oxygen level is dropping, going on your stomach with a pillow, like, on your chest, it does increase. So, few things where we can practically understand that, okay, if a situation like this comes in, what are the necessary things that we have to look for? So keeping that with us, at the same time leaving it, saying that what is in our control, we will do it. If things are not, there's no point thinking and overdoing with it. Of course, not taking it lightly, like you rightly said, it's not something that we can take very lightly. Yes, we've been hearing a lot of cases, and we have to be very cautious about it. And yeah, like you rightly mentioned, I think we have to do all of that.
Together we will do it.
Yeah.
And
Together we will do it. Yes, wonderfully said.
absolutely. Because
And
as you have
together we
already
can make
said,
this difference.
we are there for each other. That is
Right.
what humanity is all about.
Exactly, exactly. I think that's something which is the need for now. We all need to stand together for each other and fight it, instead of discriminating or isolating. Kind of in the sense like making the person completely feeling at the like leaving them at their own ways. So I think this is something which definitely needs to be done.
Hopefully, after listening to you, they will realize that this is the need of the hour and they will surely connect with each other, even with those that they have not connected for a long time.
Right, right. This will be the great opportunity for them to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Ms. Sukanya Biswas. It was wonderful listening to you and the enthusiasm and positivity that you have brought up in the episode. It's really
Yeah.
wonderful. Thanks
Thank you
a
so
lot
much.
for your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot. With that positive note and the encouragement that we need to be in the moment, not worry about something which we cannot do, and follow the rules, follow all the precautionary methods that are being told, and move ahead in life. With that note, I end the episode. Thanks a lot for listening. Hope to see you again. Till then, be safe. Bye.